Have you ever felt like you're tired, but it's not the kind of tired that sleep fixes? Like you wake up after a full night's rest, and somehow you're still drained. You push through your day, doing everything you're supposed to do, but nothing feels satisfying. You laugh with your friends, maybe even hit your goals, but deep down, something feels off. If that sounds a little too familiar, you're not alone. Sometimes we don't even realize we're running on emotional empty. We just think we're being lazy, or overly sensitive, or maybe just in a slump. But what if I told you that might be your mind waving a white flag? In this video, I want to walk you through 7 quiet signs that you might be mentally and emotionally exhausted, even if you don't see it yet. I promise this isn't about guilt or shame. It's about awareness, compassion, and maybe a little bit of healing. Let's talk. Mental exhaustion doesn't always look like a breakdown. Sometimes it shows up in subtle, sneaky ways, especially in your 20s. We're told these years should be exciting, full of energy, ambition, possibilities. But for many of us, it's also the most overwhelming chapter. There's pressure to figure everything out, to prove ourselves, to always be on. And that constant mental load, it takes a toll. So let's explore these signs together. If even one of them sounds like you, take it as a gentle nudge to pause and take care of the you behind the scenes. 1. You're easily irritated by small things. You drop your keys, someone sends you a K-text, the Wi-Fi lags for 2 seconds, and suddenly, you're ready to scream or cry. This isn't just about being moody. When you're mentally worn out, your brain doesn't have the capacity to filter out small annoyances. Everything feels big because your emotional bandwidth is already full. If you've been snapping more than usual or feeling overwhelmed by everyday stuff, it might be a sign you're running low on inner fuel. Insight: sometimes anger or frustration is just sadness in disguise, a sign that you need rest, not more self-discipline. 2. You struggle to enjoy the things you used to love. You used to love reading, drawing, gaming, going out, but now even your favorite things feel like chores. This emotional numbness is one of the clearest, but most overlooked signs of burnout. When your mind is overworked, it stops registering joy the same way. It's like life is happening in grayscale. You're not broken, you're not boring, you're just tired, in a deep, soul-level kind of way. Gentle reminder: give yourself permission to rest without producing something. Joy will come back when your spirit feels safe again. 3. Your motivation comes in random, short bursts. You get a sudden wave of energy, clean your room, start 5 tasks, and then crash. This cycle is your brain's way of compensating. It gives you adrenaline to function, but then it shuts down again. Because real, sustainable motivation, that only comes when your mental health is in balance. If you're constantly bouncing between hyper-productivity and total exhaustion, it's not about laziness, it's about survival mode. Consider this: maybe your worth isn't measured by how consistent you are, but by how gently you treat yourself in the dips. 4. You feel disconnected from yourself. You look in the mirror and think, I don't feel like me. You go through your day almost robotically, eating, working, scrolling, but not really experiencing anything. This disconnect is your mind's way of protecting itself. When you're emotionally overloaded, it's easier to detach than to feel everything all at once. But the longer we stay disconnected, the harder it gets to remember who we are, what we love, what matters. Pause here. When's the last time you felt present, not performing, not distracting, just present? 5. You keep saying, I'm just tired, but sleep doesn't help. You could sleep 8, 10, even 12 hours, and still wake up feeling foggy. That's because this isn't about physical fatigue. It's mental, emotional. It's the kind of tired that comes from overthinking, people-pleasing, suppressing emotions, or always being on. Rest doesn't always mean sleep. Sometimes it means silence, boundaries, saying no, doing nothing and being okay with that. Soft truth: you're allowed to be tired. You're allowed to stop before you collapse. 6. You feel guilty for doing nothing. You finally get a free day, but instead of enjoying it, you feel anxious. You check your phone, think of what you should be doing, and spiral into guilt for not being productive. That guilt, it's not your fault. We've been taught that rest must be earned, that slowing down is lazy, but that belief is what burns us out in the first place. Here's the reframe. Rest is not a reward, it's a right. 7, you're constantly questioning your worth. You hit a small failure and suddenly question your whole identity. You wonder if you're enough, if you're doing enough, if you're falling behind. This isn't just insecurity. Mental exhaustion erodes self-esteem because it clouds your perception. You don't see your strength or effort clearly. You only see the cracks. But here's what's real. You are doing your best with what you have, and that counts, even on the messy days. So, did any of those signs hit home? If they did, I just want you to know, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not weak for feeling this way. Mental exhaustion is real, and healing doesn't happen overnight. But the first step is simply noticing and giving yourself permission to slow down. Take a breath. You're doing better than you think. If this video spoke to you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Which sign resonated most with you? Or what have you been feeling lately? If this felt comforting or helpful, feel free to like, subscribe, or share with someone who might need it today. And hey, be kind to yourself this week. You deserve it.